Hello, everyone. Thanks again for joining us for another episode of Psi-Friday with Mason. Today, about the middle of June, I told you all, we talked about the zone of silence recently. I told you all I might talk about these paranormal parallels, these rings of latitude that go around the world. And the idea that some of them might have a bit of supernaturalism / paranormal philosophy attached to them. For the moment, I'll return to the zone of silence, which people would say, I read a couple articles about it, and one of them goes, well, it's on the 27th parallel, along with the Bermuda Triangle and the pyramids of the Egyptian Giza Plateau. And, I looked that over and I go, that's quite a coincidence. If so, I didn't know that. So I started looking it up. Well, first of all, the zone of silence, its latitude is 26 degrees and 41 minutes. Okay? So that's close enough to 27 for me for the moment. The Great Pyramid of Giza, which is on this relatively small plateau, its latitude is 29 degrees and 58 minutes. Now that's not real close to 27 or to 26 in my book. These are hundreds of miles, hundreds on the globe. Thirdly, the latitude of the Bermuda Triangle is 25 degrees and 71 minutes. So we got 26, 29, and 25. Now, that's not the 27th parallel, my friends. It just isn't close enough for me. And it recalls a couple of ideas for me. One of them is that there is a tendency in paranormalists to just say stuff, just there we go, wham, fact, they're like Inspector Clouseau, fact. Trouble is, they just say stuff. Their standards for asserting a paranormal factoid are different from mine. And personally, I think one of the great gifts of the paranormal is that as a subject, it gets people reasoning, gets them speculating, gets them out of the herd. We get a lot of herd behavior these days. People just turn their mind off, put the blinders on, and there they go. It's worse now than it used to be. I don't get it myself. If you look at where we ought to be in history, we should be the most educated, sophisticated, compassionate culture that's ever existed, and yet we're running around the streets calling each other names. I just don't get it. But many paranormalists don't have the same standard of backup that I need to be able to tell you something. I'm going to mention two. One is Ivan Sanderson. I should have researched his dates. I don't have them at this second, but he would have lived. He was writing in the 40s and 50s and 60s. And Sanderson, like a lot of these paranormal gadflies, he was writing really fringy books. But for as many factoids as they throw against the wall, some of these guys really hit something. And when they do, it's really interesting. And Ivan Sanderson, we got to talk about him someday, but Ivan Sanderson was the one who came up with the theory that certain spots in the world were vortexes, where usually points where latitude and longitude cross, and that these zones were paranormal. They were zones of not only material disaster that were provable, like the Great Lakes Triangle. Talk about that someday. And the Bermuda Triangle is at one of his vile vortices. Another one of my most revered and favorite paranormalists of all time is Colin Wilson, British writer who lamentably died probably, 10 years ago. He died in, maybe 2010 or whatever. Great thinker, big soul, fine writer. But for Colin Wilson, as big as his mind was, and as much as there was up there, his standards of proof were not identical to mine either. Like, he would take anecdotal evidence, that's people saying they saw something, as total fact, and he would use it to build a theory. And I don't see anything wrong with that, I guess, but be cautious what you claim to be valid. Just don't go quite that far. And I hope that's not selling Colin Wilson short. But for today, I'll just tell you one more thing. The Bermuda Triangle, as hotly disputed as it is, it's a very big area. I mean, the fact that somebody's line of longitude, latitude, or either one, runs through it, you don't get a lot of points in my world for that. It's a big zone. But I would tell you something else, though. The idea that ancient people might have known something about our system of latitude and longitude, that's not as wacky as it sounds. As a matter of fact, concepts of latitude and longitude were developed well before the Christian era. The Golden Age Greeks, 500 BC. The Phoenicians, 600 BC. Their system might have been the same one we use today. They were good astronomers. They could have figured this stuff out. So it's possible that anything subsequent to that might know our system. Because frankly, if your 37th parallel is something I've got a different name for on my map, or whatever, if I just spaced them differently, using a different numerical system, it's not going to hold a lot of water. But for now, my friends, I'm interested enough in both the 33rd degree parallel and the 37th that I think we'll be talking about them this summer too. Each one is interesting in its own right. Farewell for another week. Thanks for joining us on Psi-Friday with Mason. Next week, we're going to talk about the solstice. See ya.